The blog era is the best era in hip hop history. What's up? Welcome to Beyond Beats and Culture. This is Let's Have a Conversation. And today the conversation is about the blog era. Some quick, nothing too crazy. Just one of my favorite eras in hip hop. Just something that I miss, I just miss that era of when you can just wake up in the morning and go to like your favorite site and then look what came out over the morning or last night, or maybe you got a surprise mixtape that dropped. I don't know, just I don't have that feeling no more. I'm older now. I'm an adult, so I'm just kind of looking back at like a good time. And I don't know if any of you kids, y'all probably feel that way as well. But I don't know. I'm not in tap to the youth right now. Like I know on Instagram's kind of like the new blogs and different Twitter pages and stuff that post news and post Drake's selfies now, and they don't really post the music. They just post Drake selfies. I just missed feeling like I found a new artist and also connecting with somebody else on the internet over an artist and things like that. And I think it's more just a youth thing, And I'm just gonna sit here and reminisce, you know what I mean? I just feel like that era of hip hop was just so important because it just gave us some of the best artists in like in the last 15 years. It gave us some of the best guys, man. Who like come on, man. We still have guys that's from that era that's killing it right now. You know, you can think about the big three, came from the blog era, killing it. And one thing I really appreciate from the blog era is that people from different regions came out with their own sounds. They kind of pushed the culture forward, man. You had people, of course, that like artists that they grab from their influences, but they made it their own. And that's one thing I really appreciated because I see, these new artists, some of these new artists, man, they just don't know how to add their own identity into some of this music. They just mimic their favorite artists. You know what I'm saying? So, artists like Odd Future, artists like ASAP Rocky, artists like freaking Danny Brown, Mac Miller, Wiz Khalifa, Currency. Even though Currency and Wiz was like signed in like I think like 05, 06. I know Currency was like with Cash Money at times, and then with Young Money. But like the blog era, that gave him that time of like, man, I'm letting the fans decide of like what they like. Like he could put his own stuff out.
A subculture where everybody was, where it was like minded, where what was whack was really whack, and nobody was pretending that it was cool. Everybody was telling the truth in the blog world. And then I was like, well, this is who I make music for. Like everything I'm doing is for this.
Also with Wiz as well, he did the same thing.
The internet flattened everything. So it gave people a chance, like a Wiz Khalifa. Wiz signed to Warner Brothers, didn't get his shot. He had one song out there and it didn't hit like maybe the label thought, maybe he thought, maybe his management thought. And he was like, that's it, my life is over. Like, I don't have a second chance, until he decided that the internet could be his way through. Right. If Hot 97 wasn't gonna play his records all the time, well, there has to be some other place because I just feel this. And
they kind of had this after, this resurgence after they really got signed to like major labels and stuff like that. So I don't know. I just think that's pretty dope that you had this era in the blog era where like independency from artists was like kind of pushed. It was like a big thing. I remember just watching like Kendrick Lamar interviews, J. Cole interviews and stuff like that. And like you get see these, they was young artists, but they really was kind of mature. Like some of them kind of predicted like what was going to happen like in the future and stuff like that. It's kind of cool to like look back at it and just reminisce on like the times. And sometimes, they just didn't know what was happening. You know what I mean? This era was amazing, man. Like it was like probably one of the more genre pushing eras. Like it was a huge shift in the culture, super big shift. Different sounds coming from different artists. Like what Danny Brown was doing like some wild stuff, man. Like it was crazy, man. Like this era was just crazy. I just really missed that. Like it's not because like not saying, oh, now currently you don't have any artists that come out and do anything too much different. But no, I'm just saying you had abundance of different talent, and that what made it like really important. Like you had not just 2-3 artists, you had a good amount of artists that came to make some noise from everywhere. Detroit, Chicago was making noise, New York, freaking the South, West Coast, everybody was like had something being pushed at the time. Like I'm not saying it's not happening now. I just think that it's not a certain sound. Like a lot of these kids be from everywhere, but they all have like this same sound. Like they all this underground sound, this want to be Playboy Cardi type of sound. It's like I'm looking for someone that has some type of identity, man. Like I said earlier, like you can have your influences, but show us your identity, like who you are. Like you bring your presence, like who you are on these songs, on this album. Like who are you? You know what I mean? And that's what I miss, And I just miss like South by Southwest. Oh man. I miss like looking for like footage of South by around that time. I remember like going to South by, I think in 2014, seeing some artists that I know that was actually listening to. It was crazy. Really wanted to go in 2013, but didn't get the chance because I would have loved to see Kendrick Lamar perform at the Ilmore. That's like some of the best footage out there on the internet. It was just the energy in that freaking room was crazy. Um, it was just crazy how like every artist would get together to South by, and like sometimes they run into people that they didn't know even knew who they was. You know what I'm saying? So this
met Bun, and I went to go introduce myself, and he was like, "I know who you are." I pulled out his iPod at the time, and had all of my shit on there.
Wow.
I was like, "I'm always checking for you every time you on the blogs. I see your shit." So that let me know that everybody is on the same blogs. Everybody's looking for their shit on those blogs.
And now how everything is like the algorithm in these streaming services, like they're trying to like mimic the music you listen to and try to find new music. But it's like you don't find new music anymore, man. And Spotify have like this discovery thing, but I don't know. I just kind of miss the hunt. You miss the hunt of just like searching blogs on the internet, on YouTube and stuff, and you just run into like an artist and like, wow, this is dope. Like I haven't had that feeling in years. I don't know. I just miss it. I sound like an old man just reminiscing about like the good old days. Like the blog era it was really really dope, man. I remember like mixtape Fridays and when Kanye was dropping stuff and Lil Wayne having some dope mixtapes. Like it wasn't just new artists like making moves, man. It was already established artists putting out dope music, man. Like cause what Kanye was doing with the Good Fridays, and then having like crazy verses from like Sci-Hi and Pusha T was killing it, man. Like that was a crazy movement. The blog era, man, has some of the best music, some of the best artists, just some of the really good moments and fun times, especially like Wiz Khalifa, like Day to Days. I don't know if any of you guys remember those. They was hilarious, man. Like I used to watch them every time they dropped. Me and my cousin, we'll just watch them like it's a new episode of like a show or something. Like just sit around the computer and just watch it. Like these was what I spent my most time on the computer, hours and hours of music. Picture if like they had wrap ups back then on like some, I don't know what would they would have used to have the wrap up, but still, I think like back then on iTunes, 'cause I used to like transfer all my mixtapes to iTunes, and it'd be like, oh, you listen to this so many times, this many plays and stuff like that. But would have been crazy to see my listening time back then and like what I was jamming, and listening to so many artists back then, and artists like Big Crit, man, like which was like, man, I remember the first time I heard Big Crit, like, and like being in my bunk bed and like jumping off the freaking bunk bed to run down to my mom's house, because I remember my Wi-Fi wasn't working. Had to run to my mom's house down the street to like download this freaking Crit Was Here mixtape. Like each mixtape that came out that kind of like that was like a staple during the blog era, like it has a story. Like I just remember the story of it, like actually hearing it for the first time, man. Like just Cushion Orange Juice, like hearing Never Been for the first time was just crazy. Man, I don't know, man. Just don't feel the same. And I don't know if it's because I'm getting older, which I think it is. I think it's really because I'm getting older. That's what I think it is. Because like earlier last year, I was speaking on like I'm not feeling connected with artists, or I'm not feeling connected with albums or anything like that no more. Like, but then I actually like after like a week or so that I said that, like an album came out by Quandary called Ask a Magnolia that it gave me like a blog era feel, and then I actually kind of connected with like, wow, dang, this happened. So I don't know. I feel like it's some artists out there that still have that. They know the essence because they kind of grew up in that era too, and they remember it. So they trying to put out that same energy, that same feel, that same hunger, and attention to detail with some of the albums, and the mixtapes. I remember when mixtapes felt like albums and stuff. I don't know. And now we just don't even know what's the difference between a mixtape and an album anymore. I don't know. Even back then, we didn't know. Oh, that was crazy. But I don't know, man. I didn't want to talk too much about it. I just kind of want to reminisce on the blog era, man. Just any of the times and like any great moments y'all had or dope moments y'all remember, you could put in the comments, man. Because the conversation started here, but it ends in the comments. You know what I mean? You get not even it ends, it begins, and then it ends because when people stop commenting, I guess it ends in the comments. But yeah, man, this has been the conversation. I wish I could have talked more. I might have to do a really in-depth video one day. It's just really discussing the blog era and the movement and like what was so important about it. And I don't know, I might have to, but this is just something I was wanting to talk about real short. But thanks for watching. This has been Let's Have the Conversation with T, presented by Beyond Beats and Culture. And I'm out. Peace.